Hey, so I want to ask you something. What if the thing that's blocking your breakthrough in your life, in your business, in your relationship, isn't necessarily what you think? What if it's not your mindset, your thought life, your habits, your actions, your fears, all of the things that we tend to give credit for why we are sometimes stuck in this life? What if the thing that is stopping you from igniting the power that you possess to break through in the area that matters most in relation to your destiny, to your goals, to you becoming the better version of you, is simply what you keep embracing as normal? Today I want to take you on a journey, if you would allow me, a journey that really was the catalyst to my own transformation. A journey that actually started by way of asking a profound question. Listen to me. I firmly believe that in this life, it is the questions that we ask and the answers that we give that ignites more than just motivation, but revelation. And it's not just about asking the question, but it's about the transparency of the answer that we give. This question for me is still the question that today I can tell you has been the single most impactful question in my entire life and in my journey to being better. And here it is if you're writing it down. The question is, what have I embraced in my life as normal that is conflicting my desires or my desired state? Let me say it again. What am I embracing in my life as normal that is conflicting my desires or my desired state? Here's what I want you to understand, that whatever you choose to embrace in your life as normal will set the tone for what you're willing to accept, also what you're willing to reject. If I was to give this moment in time a title, this journey we're about to go on, I would entitle it When Healthy Isn't Normal. Listen to me, my goal today is not just to give you information. To be honest with you, I'm not even thinking about motivation. What I'm really after today is transformation. I firmly believe that motivation lasts for a moment. Well, I'd say it this way, that motivation is head work. Transformation is hard work. You see, transformation, if I was to define it, it's a profound shift in your belief. It's a radical shift in what you believe that creates ripple effects in your behaviors and outcomes. What I'm trying to help you to understand is that for most of us, we don't see sustainable change in our behaviors. We see regression, we see patterns, we see cycles. We don't necessarily move ahead because yes, we may be doing the behavior thing, but we're doing that behavior thing from a belief that is not aligned with the results that we ultimately want to see. What if the thing that is blocking your elevation is your own acceptance of a norm that is fighting the very thing that you want? Can I go a little bit deeper? A person who views poverty as their norm will never be wealthy. Not because they can't, but because they won't. If it is your norm to be in dysfunction, you will constantly sabotage your peace. Come on, talk to me. If it is your norm to solve problems, you'll actually create problems just to solve them, to feel a sense of purpose. What you embrace in your life as normal will really set the tone for what you're willing to accept and what you're willing to reject. So maybe, just maybe, the thing that is blocking your breakthrough is what you have embraced as normal to you. Have you embraced anger, embraced burnout, embraced lack, embraced self-sabotaging habits, embraced abuse, embraced things as normal to you that were never actually designed for you? And by doing so, you are delaying the posture that is necessary to see differently through the shifting of belief so that ultimately you can have the behaviors and outcomes that are necessary. I want to give you a story that I think really encapsulates this thought. There's a gentleman one day walking past the elephant graveyard, well, elephant yard, elephant camp. The elephants are not dead. And he was fascinated because he saw these big, huge elephants tied to this little bitty stake on this little bitty chain. I want you to envision this for me. Huge elephants weighing tons, stuck in this place, tied to this little bitty stake on this little bitty chain. And he's fascinated, so he decided to ask the trainer who was standing there, how in the world are these elephants being held stuck, held bound by these little bitty stakes on these little bitty chains? So the trainer said to him, well, they were actually tied to it as babies. And as babies, they tried to get away. And trying to pull away from this thing as a baby, they realized that they couldn't get away. And so they stopped trying because they recognized that at that point, the thing that was holding them in that place, in that spot, was this little bitty stake on this little bitty chain. Walk with me. They grew up still believing that the little bitty stake on little bitty chain that held them bound as babies was still strong enough to hold them in that position. Do you recognize that these elephants were in a new season, but still tied to an old belief? They were in a new space in their life. They had new courage. They had new strength. They had new ability. They had new capacity. Yes, they had gone through something at one season of their life, but that thing that they went through no longer defined their reality, but to them, it was real. And I want you to think about the many people that walk past these elephants thinking to themselves, why are these elephants still allowing this thing to hold them? Somewhat like people who view us in our own lives. Like, why are you still allowing the fear and the failure and the rejection and the disappointments from that relationship, that business venture, that thing that happened in your life to cause you to now embrace it as your norm, as your identity? Can I tell you something? One of the things that I found in my life that keeps a lot of people stuck is that they have become what they have been through. Come on, y'all. That they've been through a season and they became the season instead of allowing the season to refine who they were becoming. And so when we allow these unhealthy norms to govern our life, to truly become the catalyst for our belief systems, we now perpetuate these norms. We now settle for these norms. We find relationships that look like these norms. Do you know one of the biggest things that changes the moment you decide to change your life is your relationships? One of the ways you know you're growing is that the people that used to be good with you are no longer good with you or even necessarily good for you. And most people are not inherently evil. Most people struggle with the idea of you changing because you changing could potentially mean that they no longer have a job. Because oftentimes their job description is connected to your dysfunction. Their job description is therapist, counselor, is relationship guru, is I help you to get out of a financial strain. And so when you change their job description because you now become a different person, the person that you really were created to be, they're not necessarily fighting your growth. They're fighting the change in identity that's coming as a result of you growing. What are you embracing in your life as normal that is conflicting your desires or your desired state? Because listen to me, whatever you normalize, you will rationalize. And whatever you rationalize, you will actualize. So can I tell you something today? There's a mindset shift going into your day. You may not be getting out of life what is necessarily just happening to you. What you may be getting out of life is what you keep accepting. Because I want you to understand this. Whatever you embrace in your life as normal will set the tone for what you're willing to accept, but also what you're willing to reject. Javon, why? Because you will always sabotage what you don't believe you deserve. I want to encourage you today that the thing that may be blocking your breakthrough is your decision to finally divorce the norms that are not serving what you are trying to go after or who you're ultimately wanting to become. And you have the power. You have the power to stop embracing things that don't serve your identity, that don't serve your purpose, that don't serve your calling. And if your mind can conceive this today and your heart will believe it, then your hands can create the life, the impact, the legacy, the joy, the power, the peace that you desire. I'm Joe Val in Glasgow. And until next time, stay empowered.